Hey everybody, GeForce41 here with another PGA Tour 2K23 course design tip tutorial video. We are doing quick tips 16 now, and we are continuing our saga with EraserGib. So this is EraserGib's new version of his course, EraserGib Test 5, I believe. And if you have been following us along, you know we've done a whole bunch of videos, quick tips videos going over his course, giving him suggestions. He's been implementing some of the suggestions I see, and I can tell off the bat not all of them, but we'll get to that in a second. But this looks much better. So if you, I think we're on, I don't know, video 4 or 5 with this, so it's kind of fun now. But you can see the difference, right? The bunkering was off at first. Now he's got bunkering that you can see off the tee. It's shaped, it's sculpted. You can see the bunkers up there. Good job. We got a nice view. We got some pretty flowers off to the side there. They're kind of sticking up a little. So those kind of, see how they're just kind of one-off sticking up there. If you're gonna do that, folks, do a few of them, right? Shrink those down, maybe sink them. A good trick people use is they use some of the they're like planters. They have some planters, or they can use, you actually can use a garbage can and put them at the top and kind of sink the garbage can, and it looks like a flower pot. But so if you want to get real fancy with that on your finishing touches, go ahead. But that's a good spot for some plantings off to the side of your tee boxes. I do that all the time. Just, break it up and make it look natural. I don't know. You've still got some stuff over here. Is that planted, or is that the autogen? I thought we're taking the autogen stuff off. So, I would get rid of that stuff right there. But there you go. Now look at this. So the last one we're talking about planting around the wet areas, the ponds, etc. So that looks pretty good. That looks fairly natural. It's all green, but it doesn't look bare and unfinished, right? It just, to me, looks like a rough draft when you don't put anything out there. So, could you do that to your taste? You got to get the size right, the shape, play around with it, see what looks and feels good for your design. So we're looking better. Looking a little bit more natural and realistic. The fairway, sorry, I flip around here, and it probably makes you all dizzy, but I'm just checking things out the way I would check out my course. So yeah, this looks like a pretty good tee shot. I've got wind going northeast and medium. The back tees, the first hole location. So yeah, you set this up for heroic carry, so there's a little strategery there. You got some big fairway to lay back on if you ever wanted to be safe into 3-wood, like I would probably do in real life on this hole. But actually, it's a long hole. I probably wouldn't do that. And the entrance looks good, even though it's an elevated green. That's a fair, good entrance to the green, right? You don't want the big bumps. It's okay to have an entrance that goes uphill. You just don't want that harsh kind of start and stop in a big hill that knocks you backwards. So you got some bunkering again. I don't know what these are. I would get rid of those. Not sure I like those little trees there either. But let's see what the bunkers. Yeah, you probably could even give those a little bit more concavity. Would take the brush, go down, maybe do kind of. I believe when you got to raise it, go to maybe 1 foot, and give those a little bit of concavity. But that's kind of interesting, having all those bunkers around it. I wouldn't make them all that uniform. What you might want to do is have a bunker back here instead of these two. Maybe just 1 here. And then I don't mind the 2 there. Or 3 even. I don't think you need those 2 back there. That kind of gives it a good effect. You got some trees. The green looks fine. Although I would say the green, you might think the green goes that way towards the pond. It doesn't really matter too much. Those are your basic thoughts. So the one thing I did notice is the lighting. I checked the lighting before I hit the go button, and it's on noon. So I did a lighting video. I suggest you all check that out if you're a newer designer. The lighting here does not do you any favors. It's very bright. If you're going to use the noon lighting or around noon, you can do that and go with the neutral look. But you need to use clouds and a uniform set of clouds, kind of overcast. and go with that neutral look. So that is in my lighting video. I show you both looks. Or go with a lower lighting. If I think of it, I will try to play this course at afternoon, late afternoon, dusk, or dawn, and show you the difference. You know, some people like to design with the light. I like to design and sculpt with the favorable light, with low light behind where I'm sculpting. All right, so you've fixed this hole a bit. There was this crazy area where this thing is. So you've got that looking a little better. This grass might be too big. I don't know how big it actually is. It looks gigantic because look how big the green is. So you got to be careful. When I plant with grass, what I do is I go up to the flag and I make sure, you can do long grass, but I make sure it's never more than halfway up the flag. Because that's like the flag's about 6 feet. So you don't want it any higher, you know, gigantic grass going. But that, I could just tell from here, that looks like it's pretty big. So it just doesn't look proportionate. So you might want to redo that stuff. But that's, yeah, I like, again, that's pretty big, I think. So yeah, it's a good area to have like a brushy waste area in there. Good idea. Just be careful on the size of the grass that you're dropping. Green's a little funny shaped. It's kind of got funny edges. You could smooth that if you want. Wouldn't hurt. Again, the greens are tame. As I think I said on the last video, you would hope they were casuals friendly. I mean, we are both in charge of Casuals Golf Club. You know, that's the trick of the trade, making the greens interesting and make them move a little without making them too crazy. I don't mind this. The tree in the middle is just tricky. It's not a big tree, it's a little wide. You can maybe go with something a little thinner, but yeah, it just basically works like a centerline bunker. You can go here, right? Or you can go out over here. And I don't mind that too much. I've seen a few of these in my day in real life, and they don't bother me. Some people aren't fond of these type holes. You just got to make sure you give enough room. See there, I didn't really get out there. Now, yeah, it's a little obstructive, but you know, it's a little bit on me, the player, for not knowing. I got to hit it a little bit of a draw around here. See what I can do. And that's why you want those bunkers right there. The spline into the green's looking pretty good, much better. So these are all things EraserGib is fixed. Make sure your splines from the fairway going into the green are smooth. They're not just kind of blocky and going in at a right angle. So all these little things, folks, that really make a difference. They all add up. And it just comes with experience in the eye. I edit my own courses and I go over them and over and over, and I'm looking for something that's wrong or that I can fix, right? He's put some grass around the trees. That helps. And this is kind of cut off. You know, like I said, you can do these type of holes. Just make sure there's a reason here. There's a bunker. Usually you're going to see some sort of elevation change and not just a bunker like that. You see bunkers like that on Arizona-based courses and things. So again, people tend to not mind these if there's a good reason for the break in the fairway. 5 miles an hour, 10 downhill. I'm just going to pull it back a little. Get out to that corner. Yeah, on a good slope there. It helps you come back in. Yeah, and it's a par 5, so I'd be hesitant on a par 5 to kind of take the fairway away unless there's a really good reason, like some sort of pond or stream. Because you want them getting out there if they can, and you want that shot in. You kind of want to make that second shot in fun. If you don't do a good job on the tee shot, you shouldn't get the second shot in, and such. So, you know, think about your par 5 strategically, what you want to do as a player. These greens are looking okay. That's a big slope, but I'd have to see what it looks like from the top. But there's plenty of room away from the big red slope. So that's fine. Pardon me, just taking a sip of coffee because it is barely 30 degrees here today. Had a nice warm fall, but winter has reared its head here in the Northeast. And I was freezing on my walk, my morning walk, and at the bus stop with the kids. My gosh. Alright, so that's the principal nose, and this is the double plateau. Oh, that's looking pretty good. Yeah, double plateaus are a little challenging to pull off. I can't say I'm an expert at them. If you don't know, a double plateau is a template hole. It's a long four with a principal nose bunker about 50, 60 yards out. So he's pulled that off. And you kind of have an L-shaped green where you have two sections that are plateaus, hence double plateau, and one lower section. So it's kind of usually like in an L, and the lower section is the corner of the L. There's a big valley back here, which is a little kind of like much. You'd kind of not see that section right back. I can't here back here. But still, this is fine. It's a good concept, an introduction to template holes. I'm not going to be critical of this because I have not pulled off a good one of these yet myself. Mayday has a couple good ones. I'm sure you'll see something in the way of the British, links courses, maybe a Yeltsin or a J. Johnson type course might have some in there just because they're traditional courses. But Mayday's very good at subtly putting templates in his designs. I think Meseta Pines is one of those where he has these deceivingly subtle templates in there. Alright, let's get rolling. Alright, so we got show off your work, folks, right? We've been through this a bunch of times. 12 feet down from the tee, I can't see a thing, and there's a tee box in front of me. So, no reason for it. There's two things you could do here. You could lower that tee box, or you could move it off to the left, or the right. Our pal Ivy Mike that helps us run the casual says, you designers should be more creative and move your tee boxes around to different sides and give different angles so the whole plays different. And he's right. I don't do that nearly enough. But so I would say this is a chance to show off your work. Can't see that fairway, and you'd have a nice little run. You might be able to see all right up to the green. So yeah, you got a little S fairway going on, bunkers in appropriate places. They're looking a little shallow. I think you could add some depth to these. You can't really tell there. And again, don't forget to sculpt around the sides of your bunkers. Add the depth in the inside, but sculpt around the top of the bunkers. 2 to 3 inches is with the fuzzy donuts, all it takes. You do have to go around the whole thing, and you got to be patient. That's all it takes, but that's going to help add some contours and some concavity and depth to your bunkers. So you got a little bit of concavity on the inside. You pull up the sides just a tad. It makes the outside look nice and sculpted. So same thing here. You kind of just depressed it, and just that area around it looks kind of funny. I don't mind those 3 bunkers there. That wouldn't, just thinking of it, fun idea. That would be not a bad idea for one big kind of long one. Almost, yeah, that whole length. You could do that. No big deal either way. Good. And so again, the entrances are pretty good. That's very flat at the top, and then it goes down here. So that's good. And look, the greens are just moving very, very subtly. All right. So I probably should have went up a club. Yeah, it's going to be short. As soon as I pulled back, I realized I was under clubbing. But look what happens. I'm under clubbing and I got a little roll up, right? So that's fine, right? You don't want to necessarily be too punitive. You could have a hole like that. On your course, it's usually a shorter, get in, hey, 4 that you have a wedge in if you got a really steep incline to the green. So we'll take the eagle. not a whole lot of strategery going on here. Big wide open fairway. I forget what this one is. Yeah, that's a good. All right, we'll talk about the green in a second. Definitely could add something here. Not sure what. Not sure if you want a series of bunkers here as a heroic carry, or pinch it over there a little bit. You have enough room that you could make a center line bunker kind of whole thing here, but this is very flat. So, off the top of my head, I'm not sure how to spice this up, but there's definitely a few things to do. This is just bash it. It's huge. This might be a good idea for putting a tree in the middle of the fairway rather than the hole we played earlier. Yeah, so you've got a green just over a creek, and yeah, there's no apron, there's no green entrance at all. Perfectly fine, acceptable, and good time to use that technique. I like the green. It's a little punch bowly, and it drains. Hey, look at that. So a punch bowl does tend to drain on one side, or else it literally would be a big puddle. Trying to remember what this was like previous versions. I don't really recall. Oh, there's a little hill there, so this is a little Alpsy. So that's what's going on here. A little bit of a hill there. It's a little maybe of an Alps kind of thing. There's no Sahara bunker, but you have the water and a bunker off to the side there. So maybe there's a little play on an Alps hole. I like that. So I like the hole. It's just a huge, easy shot off the tee. Of course, I probably said in my last video, make the shot easier off the tee. Who the hell knows what I said last time? But yeah, I like punch bowls. They're not that easy as a designer to pull off. But they're kind of cool. You don't see too many of them. We got a couple around here for real. So this is a little bit of a short template, i.e. like the thumbprint. Yeah, no, I like this. Not bad. It's not too puddly. Again, even these are going to have to drain kind of in the thumbprint. And the bunker goes around it, so it's a little unique. So we've seen a few templates here. This is more of a Rainer type thing. CB McDonald and a Rainer, I should say. The double plateau is more of a links kind of thing. Not bad. So you're seeing some good hole variations here. Alright, this one around the corner. I remember this is a big bender. You gotta put some trees here, I would think. So this is a spot. Yeah, this is just too wide open. This is a good spot for trees. Where are we? Are we... Now we're just coming back from the other side. That's what I thought. Okay. Yeah, definitely. Because people, one, are going to exploit this way. Right? Which is not how I don't think you want people to play the hole. So I would definitely put a whole bunch of trees there. We'll add some charm to it and fill in the course a little and stop the kind of cut the corner. Maybe that is what you're going for. So it's kind of a cape hole. But if it's a cape hole, if you want that, then you want it around water and extend that pond. So there's something else you do. Use up the free space. Just make that pond bigger. Right? So you don't take a, you don't know, I don't think you're too far on the meter from the looks of it, but you can just make this all water. And then it's a cape hole, and then that's pretty legit. But what I wouldn't do is just leave it like that. Right? So I would add trees or make that all water. Make it a legit cape. And on the last version, I probably said to get rid of all the trees, right? So this course is definitely getting there. But that's, you know, it takes some iterations, some trial error, some, you know, put it out there, see what people say. So I talked in quick tips 15 last week about, or a few days ago, how I'm redoing Winter Harbor, and let me tell you, oh boy, that was brutal, and it got my second most likes on TGC Chores. If you didn't tune into the last video, all right, I like this. This is a little bit of a you still got it. You're going with that CB Rayner-esque kind of shape geometric thing. I'm not sure if that's on purpose or not. It's a little bit of a leave-in type hole, though. A leave-in, though, is going to have a big kind of hill guarding the front of the green. Where that bunker is would be a hill, not a depressed bunker. Or a low-lying bunker. I hope the bunker's not depressed. You're on a golf course. The bunker should be happy. Alright. These greens are alright. I mean, they're subtle, so you can add a little bit of contours, I think. And the way I tend to do it now is to raise, very gently raise. I'm talking 1 or 2 inches over a big kind of surface area. Just give it some tilt. Tends to work for me. Alright, so the crowds. Yeah, you want to dot those around, right? And you don't want to just put a big blotch. Look how weird that looks. Like, hey everybody, let's all gather together under this tree. And another group gathering together under this tree. You know, unless you're like giving a class or something and everybody needs to hear you, you're going to have people scattered. Got to take the brush, make it as small as you can. I take the circle as small as you can. Dot, 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 dot. And like just moving around. Again, this is a bender. This is a little bit of a prize dog leg. Interesting green shape. Not bad. I'll take it. Of course, you could see some green chipping on this green if you wind up in that back corner and the pin's front, or you wind up in the front and it's back. Left. And thankfully, one of the best things about this version of the game, PGA Tour 2K23, is kind of the demise of the green chipper, right? They changed the chipping mechanics enough that it wasn't as advantageous to chip on the greens as it was in the old days. Which was a ridiculous problem we all had to deal with. Alright, short 3. It's about $1.70, so this is kind of Eden length. What you could do here is make this into an Eden. Give it a little bit more slope back to front. Add a series of bunkers. You can over here kind of thing. I don't know if you got rid of some over here. But otherwise it's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. There's just not a ton doing. If you wanted to make it more difficult, you could do that. But you don't need bunkers all the time around the greens. Just make the green a little bit more challenging if that's what you want to do. But this is a fairly simple one. Alright, again, fairly simple. Big bunker off to the left. It's up on a hill. You might want to flatten that a little bit, or, you know, sculpt it a little bit. And that part of the bunker that's going up the hill, you kind of want to flatten that and add some concavity to it. So I would take the flattened brush to that. Otherwise, I'm not sure what's doing, if anything. It's a little hogsbacky. Not sure if that was the intention. Yeah, and I like these type greens, right? Where you got a big hill. This is a valid reason for truncating the fairway and not having an entrance to the green or an apron. You're up on a big hill, and that's a good site for a green, right? That kind of plateau of a big hill. And you've got a little bit of a shelf up top. It's going to be a tough hole location up back. But no, fine. I like these kind of holes. Again, I see these all the time around here. I take a little extra club, but I've got the wind, but I've got a slope up. So we'll see if we guessed right. I might have actually got that just right. The other thing I want to talk about is names and naming conventions. I meant to do that on the Quick Tips 15 video. Because Ronan named his course Old Castle Golf Course, right? Very plain. I don't think I got to it because I only did 9 holes. And so far, EraserGib has no name for its course. So let's take a look at this hole and then talk naming conventions. I would lose that right there. Whoops. 290. Yeah, these I'm not fond of these close to the fairway like that, but you know, it's not gonna kill you to leave them. And let's look up the green. Again, a truncated fairway, and we'll talk about that planning in a second. So off to the side. And this is a 4. Alright. Yeah, you want to, you know, stay away from the cliche, obvious, you know, kind of overused naming conventions, right? Like, Matt F27 used to have some great streams talking about this stuff. You know, Pine Oaks, or, you know, the Pines Golf Course, or the, you know, the Oaks, the Royal this, or where you just, you know, Old Castle Golf Course was, you know, that's a little, you put the castle in there, fine. You know, think of a castle name that's unique and put it in there. You just don't want, you know, the Rolling Pines, you know, the blue, you know, the lake course. I mean, you know, you got to think of something a little unique. You know, I've had some simple things, Winter Harbor, but that's an actual place. Blue Stream Valley Golf Club, but that's actually a play on Stream Song Blue. You know, Carthwick, that's named after my my kid's favorite Stuffy. He loves his cat, and his cat's name is Cartwick. He named his Stuffy Cartwick. Things like that. So this is a nice little 3 here. Again, I think this is a little much. These bright ones, I'm not a fan. I defer to you all to, you know, use the comments. Let us know what you think out there. I think it's too bright. It just doesn't blend, right? So I watched sorry. I watched My Cousin Vinny again a couple weeks ago with my wife and my older son, and you know, the great line to start the movies when they arrive, and yeah, you blend. So you want your grass to blend, okay? Like Vincent Gambini in Mississippi. So, yeah, I just think it's a little bright, and you want kind of those darker tones like this. And then my other idea is contrasted. I do kind of a green or darker green and a kind of a, maybe that beige with a little green edge. It's something that kind of contrasts and complements each other. It's hard to describe without seeing it. But this could be a really pretty hole. Bunker's in the right place. You might want to make that go the other direction, though. Meaning it's kind of oblong, and I think the kind of the wrong direction. Let's see. You know, so yeah, you want to stay away from plain names. Give it something interesting. You know, pick a location. I did the 2 Taconic State Park courses. There are no golf courses in Taconic State Park, but it was a play on Bethpage State Park in the Bethpage courses. So I did a Taconic State Park blue and a Taconic State Park red. So, you know, if you're stuck, pick a location. Name it after a location where there's no name. Make sure it's not taken in real life so people don't confuse it. Because there's a Taconic golf course that's pretty popular. And I'm right behind it there. All right. Like I said, I like that. I like that a little better than the other one. The birches are okay. I'd probably shrink them a little. So I kind of do like that. But again, you already have one of these. So I would pick one. You don't want to do this twice. Like I said, the one hole you had it, and I liked it for another hole. So definitely don't want it 3 times. But if you want it there, that's fine. If you want it on the other one, that's fine. But I would stay away from too many trees in the fairway. Even with center line bunkers, you don't want too many of them. I think maybe at the end of TGC 19 into the 2K21, the center line bunkers were all the rage. And then people were overdoing it with them. $17. Kind of blah. Not much doing here. Yeah, just not much doing. A short kind of pitch. Again, you probably need some trees along the side to make it interesting. So you can definitely fill in this course with the planting. I'm not sure what your intention is there. If you intend to do more, or you're checking this out and you want opinions on it. But my opinion is, well, my opinion is that pitch was terrible. But my opinion is you could definitely plant a lot more, make this a little bit more tree lined. And if you're going to do that, I would pick your lighting, right? So we talked about this before. You want to avoid changing your lighting midstream if you've already planted your trees and done your tree lines. Because then if you change your lighting, you're going to have the shadows going where you don't want them. You're going to have to redo everything, right? So, make sure you settle on that lighting before you really put the trees in. I mean, you can put them in and touch them up. But pro tip, because I've done that. I've changed the lighting midstream and I had to redo all the trees. I think it was Taconic State Park Red I did that. Because that was a tournament course. That was for World Cup of Design for, I think it was, I don't know what year that was. But if you don't know, TGC Tours does a World Cup of Design contest. That is very prestigious in the world of design. All right, so you got another tree. Yeah, definitely not. That's a little far, too. That's because you're going to wind up behind that almost no matter what, unless you go down this side. But you went to that well 3 times. I like the birch and that the kind of thing in there, but you don't see that anywhere. So I don't see that mulch anywhere. So if you had that mulch around the rest of the course, that would be more effective. And what I mean by that is so I'm redoing also, like I said, Blue Stream Valley, which is an Arizona course. It's basically Stream Song Blues type holes put in the desert instead of Florida. And I have that mulch. It's darker red going around the whole course. I've got an island with the BSVC on it. I've got all sorts of areas with that. So it's consistent through number of holes. The only time you see that mulch is in the middle of the fairway twice. So unless you're going to add that stuff somewhere else and incorporate it in, which isn't easy, that's going to be a lot of work. And I'm not sure that really fits here. If you're doing an Augusta type of thing. Maybe. I like the idea of the big bunker over there. Reminds me of one of the holes on Commonwealth Country Club. You can elevate greens a little bit more. Look at another chip in. Oh, I like the shape of this green. And you can have, something going on behind here, a clubhouse, a patio area, anything. I don't know what like I said, I don't know what the main goal is. If this is a country club, you might have meter enough to put in tennis courts or some other building or whatever. Just spice it up a little. Oh, I thought I drained that. Alright, this has been EraserGib, test version 5 for Quick Tip 16. He's making huge progress. Good job, my man. He's getting there. Design is hard work. So, it's a lot of work. It's just time consuming. It's a lot of little details to think of. But, hey, if you're up for the challenge and need something, I mean, to me, it's relaxing. You know, it's not frustrating at all. Once you know it, it was frustrating in the beginning when you don't know what you're doing, which is why I'm here to help you folks. So, all right, that's all for now. We will be back soon. Probably time for another. It's casuals worthy, and oh, I have got to do a playthrough of my own course, Commonwealth Country Club Newton. It's out there at Commonwealth CC parentheses Newton, and that is a historical recreation of a Donald Ross local course that's now a public course. People don't realize what an unbelievable course it was in its full glory before it lost land to land sales. So I try to bring it back to life. If you haven't seen that, check out my post on TGC Tours. And that historical video walkthrough is going to be a gem, so I got to just focus on that and get my plan and get that out. All right, so that's it for today. Bye for now. Talk to you real soon.